Hello friends, fans, and general people that just like boat racing. Today we're going to give you a little example on Race Offshore TV. I'd like to do a little, we'll call it an educational 101, how to go boat racing, what's involved, so that you as an outsider looking in, wondering how people get involved and what you need to know. We're going to just give you a quick overview of what it's all about and what it's like to go boat racing. Things you need to know. There's some safety things that are paramount. There's how to start a race. There's medical things. So let's just dive right in, and let's start with the beginning of the day on a typical offshore day. So what happens when you get to the race site? Typically on a Friday, you're going to go in the area where all the boats show up and park in is called the dry pits. The dry pits is where you're going to park your boat, park your RV. Your crew's going to set up, and that's where all the teams are going to make their home base. You're then going to go over to registration, and there's going to be a registration building, and there's a great lady in there. Her name's Dee. She's been doing it for years. She's going to help take down all your information, make sure she's got all the boat registration, just general paperwork. Should take you probably 15-20 minutes tops. From there, you head back over to on a Friday night. A lot of times we'll have a racers banquet type thing. The town will put on a dinner or a buffet or something, and invite the town to come over to meet the racers type of thing. So it's always a meet and greet event, and that goes over really well. Wake up Saturday morning. Saturday morning is the day before the race. We race on Sunday. Saturday morning there's a driver's meeting, and the driver's meeting typically is 7 to 8 o'clock. The chief referee is going to go over the basically the rules of the road, where you can go, where you can't go, if there's any speed limits, places that you got to be careful going in and out of the race course. You can make sure that you are aware that your radios are working. You have to call in and out of the to race control every time that you go out for a practice run. Then you have to call them back and tell them when you're coming back in, and they give you permission to enter or leave the course. So here's Saturday. Guys now are going out, they're testing their boats, and typically we're just making sure that the boats are prepared, making sure that the travel from the shop to the race course, whatever, nothing got loose. Probably going to try a couple propellers to see which ones are accelerating or which ones are giving us good speed down different courses, different lengths of the race course. So as we continue on Saturday, we're going to finish up and wrap up our testing. At that point, you pretty much know what props we're going to run, what our setup's going to be in our minds. And that's the beautiful thing about boat racing. The water conditions on Saturday are rarely the same as they are on Sunday. So it's just kind of a good get to know the course, get to know where the turns are, see where potential passing areas are, see how you like going through the turns, at what speeds you can do it. Saturday night, get a good night's sleep. That's all I can tell you. It's hard to sleep on Saturday night because you're all jacked up and stoked, and you're just excited about going racing. But the earlier you can get to bed and get as much rest in as you can, the better off you're going to be. Sunday, race day. Now, race day is just your adrenaline's going to be going from the minute you wake up in the morning. So your alarm goes off. Probably won't need to have the alarm go off. You'll be already ready. You're going to be getting up. You're going to be so excited. It's a great feeling, but it's a very tense, nervous feeling as well too. After years and years of doing this, I still wake up and I'm nervous every time before a race. But it's a good nervous feeling. But just get ready. The day is coming. So here we are. Day's moving along good. 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. We have our physicals. Every team has to take a physical. That morning, we're going to check to make sure your blood pressure's within reason. Going to check your pulse, make sure that you got a pulse still, and the almighty breathalyzer. Now, as you can imagine, a lot of us are fun people. We like to have a lot of fun, and we like to party. Not everybody, but certainly a fair share of us. In boat racing, it's critical that everybody in that boat is completely safe for the other people around them. So we have to do a breathalyzer. Every team does the breathalyzer. It's a pass fail. It's not .01, it's not .02, it is 0. do not pass the breathalyzer, you do not race. It's that simple. So if you're thinking about going boat racing, just remember, that's why I go to bed as early as I can on Saturday. Just a warning out there, I've seen teams ruin their weekend because they have not passed that. You've been warned. After you get through the physicals, the next step is we normally have a chaplain, Jim Black, who's one of my best friends that you can have in life, just a great man. He comes to all the races, whatever. He's multi-denomination, and he just does a nice blessing, gives a nice little story for the guys, kind of puts us all at ease a little bit and reminds us what's important in life. Thanks, Jim. We move on to the chief referee is going to tell us what's going on for the day. Roll call. Each team has to be present for roll call. If you're not there for roll call, you don't race. It's that simple. After roll call is done, we're going to talk about course infractions possibility. It's something. There might be a reef or something coming out of the inlet. Watch out for sandbars. And then we're going to go over how many laps each class has. There's a specific amount of laps, and they will be read off at the meeting. We normally go over a little general safety stuff about how to restart the race. If some boat goes over and somebody's in the water, the race stops. It stops right there and then. You slow down, you go back to the mill circle, and depending on race control or whatever, the race should restart. Pertinent information that you need to know. After that, we're all released from the meeting, and now we have to start putting our boats in the water. So all the teams now are scrambling. They know how many laps they're going to do for the day, fueling up their boats, getting their props on, looking at the water. Really exciting kind of time. It's great camaraderie with the team because you're all discussing what you think the setup should be and finalizing it. Go over to the crane, put our boats in the water. There's a specific time that the pace boat comes in, and they're going to, in the what we call the wet pit area. The wet pit is where all the boats are docked. They're going to come into the wet pit area where the boats are. They're going to have a yellow flag flying on their boat, and they're going to tell everybody, gather up, we're heading out. So this is a typical diagram of what a race course typically would be. It's typically around 5 miles in length. We're going to have orange buoy markers in each of the corners. This will be the center of the course. We are going to race around the outside of the course. There's a boat, a start-finish boat, that's typically somewhere around the center of the course. The class I race in is Pro Stock. They have, on average, 50 miles per race. So we're going to do 10 miles on this course. Okay, so we just broke out of our mill circle over here. We gathered everybody else from coming out of the wet pits. Call in on the radio, make sure everybody's out there ready to go. We do what's called a parade lap. A parade lap gives the drivers and the crew one last chance to have themselves acclimated with the course. Not everybody tests the day before. Kind of gives you some landmarks so that when you're going down this 2.5 mile straightaway, there might be a beach house down here that's got an orange roof or something. You say, all right, it's right around where that orange roof is, and you're making mental notes on the parade lap. So as you break out of the middle circle, at this point you're following the pace boat again, who is in the middle of the circle. You're going to follow him around the whole course with all the other boats at the same time. There is no lanes, you're just kind of getting acclimated with the course. Typically maybe 40 miles an hour would be the speed that we'd go around the thing. You're not allowed to pass the pace boat. The pace boat is leading. You're not to lead the pace boat. So you can be anywhere you want. You can do the thing. When you stop at the end, you're going to go back to that same mill circle that you started out in. So you're going to come over and either park in here, or you're going to come over and you're going to park over here, whichever. You might be in mill 1, you might be in mill 2. The other reason why this guy's got to let you go in time is because when this group starts and we start moving, this group's already moving too. So he can't sit here and dilly-dally and play around. another interesting thing, the pace boat itself. Pace boat is a volunteer at a race site that's volunteering their boat. They most likely have never been in a race, most likely have never done this before. He's going off the instructions of a race official that's in his boat. And so a lot of times the pace boat gets a little antsy, it gets going a little too fast, maybe he's going too slow, and you got to realize that the guy is not a professional racer. This is probably the first time he did it. And sometimes, you know what, they just come out of the mill circle instead of going 25, 30, starting to slowly pick up speed. I've seen them come out and before you know it, they're going 50 miles an hour. And now you're really stuck back here and they got to throw the flag because nobody's up and ready. So there's no rhyme or reason, just be ready. So as I said, let's say this is the inlet coming out and the parade let is coming out and he's taking everybody out here. And when I said a mill circle off the course, not on the course, we're going to start, these would be boats, making a circle. The pace boat's going to be sitting here in the middle of us with his yellow flag up, and we're all going to be going counterclockwise. It gets a little confusing because everyone's fighting for their position. And what will happen, another boat comes out with their group, and they'll be creating another circle. He'll sit in the middle, and there'll be all these boats inside of that circle, and this is at an idle speed. Now, when we go and start a race at the driver's meeting, you are going to be given a lane, and a lane is each one of these are representing an imaginary line in your head, with lane 1 being the inside and lane 5 or 10 out, whatever it is, going out here. So now that you're nervously waiting in the mill circle, the pace boat's got his yellow flag out there. They are going to signal, or they're going to start rotating their boat towards the race course. So this is the pace boat. When he does that and starts moving this way towards the race course, he is going to run a path towards the inside of the course. All of these boats are going to peel out of this mill circle and go to their designated lane 1, 2, 3. That doesn't mean that it's in order. So this could be the number 1 who gets lane 1. Lane 2 could be this guy back here. So this is a mad scramble of everybody all over the place jockeying to get into their lane. It gets a little confusing because everyone's fighting for their position. Lane 1 closest to the boat. What can happen is multiple different scenarios here. In a perfect scenario, everybody comes out of the mill circle, the pace boat goes at a nice slow pace. You know, he's going to idle up there probably at 10, 15 miles an hour to try to group everybody. They're all scrambling, trying to get in between what lane they're supposed to be in. You know, everyone's arguing about who's in their lane, who's in their way. And sometimes these lanes collapse. So hypothetically, the guy in lane 3, he might be the first one out here following the pace boat. If he doesn't leave enough room for a lane 2 and a lane 1 of these two guys aren't going to get in there. And they're going to be back behind here and then everyone's screaming at everybody else to move over. So it's a matter of leaving a good 10 feet between each one of the people around you. And in rough water, you prefer to keep 20 feet on each side of each person. It doesn't always work out that way. We've got our pace boat that's leading the boats, slowly picking up speed as he's coming down the course. Race boats are in their lanes, following behind the pace boat. Need to be 100 feet behind the pace boat. Lane 1 is in charge of setting the pace for everybody else. So you should never be ahead of lane 1. Lane 1 is the one that tries to maintain the 100-foot distance behind the boat. Reason for that is if you crowd the start boat, the guy down here or here can't see when the race flag, the green flag, goes up. And so then they keep moving forward and forward because they can't even see the start boat. So it's very important, first boat over there maintains 100 feet back, everyone stay back from him. Ideally, by the time he hits that start finish line, he should already have thrown the green flag. As of now, before he is ready, and if he doesn't feel everyone's lined up, he's holding a yellow flag. Yellow flag still means hold, hold, hold. Don't pass anybody. Get in the line. Get straightened up as much as you can. And then when he feels that enough boats are in line, and he's getting closer to that thing, if they're not ready, green flag goes up, and off we go racing. So you got to ask yourself, why are some of these boats at the start of a race not up on that front line? This is the kiss of death. That's this guy right here who got caught with his pants down back in the mill circle, and other than he had a mechanical problem, there is no reason that you should not be on that line, or at least vying to squeeze in somewhere because you got boxed out. The only reason you get boxed out is because you weren't there first. So shame on you. Get your ass to that line and you make sure that you're holding your line in your position. If you're not willing to do that, if you're not ready to do that, then be prepared to be this guy. That's the guy who wasn't prepared or ready. Oh, no. All right, so this is a perfect scenario. All the boats are all lined up. The pace boat feels everybody's ready. Green flag goes up. We all slam throttles forward, and now we're all racing down to turn one. As you're getting closer to turn one, the line of boats and lanes gets smaller and smaller, and to the point where you're probably now 2 or 3 feet apart from each other on each side, whereas when you started you may have been 10 feet apart from each other on each side. As you go through turn one, this is again perfect scenario. This is how you're going to go around the course. Boat number 2 must hold his lane. Go around the course. All these boats, as they get closer and closer, are holding their lane. Holding their lane. You cannot pass on the first end of the course, around the first turn 1, 2, or 3 here. You cannot pass. You have to hold your lane through the whole thing. Here's the only prayer, Mr. Oh no, what happened? His only prayer is that he is so far back that by the time he gets up here, these boats are already somewhere up in here, and he now doesn't technically supposed to stay out here, but in reality, he can actually take his line and do this. Nobody's probably going to say anything because he's not interrupting the other lanes. You can't be the first one there and do that. But if you're the last boat and you're following through, all right, that's just to make it safe for everybody to get through the first turn. And they do have spotters on boats that are watching for this. They're watching for people cutting people off. You know what? Sometimes you have to avoid boats, do whatever. That's part of the game. You can't always have a perfect turnaround there when you've got 10 boats in a class. It's just impossible to do. Once you get around this turn, like I said, it's game on. At this point right up in here, you race with your skills, whatever you've got. You come out of this turn and you want to duck down all the way into here, have at it. You want to stay out here, stay out here. You want to just run straight down the middle, run straight down the middle. Can't cut people off. But you can pick your own line, and now you can continue the race on your own. There's no such thing as lanes anymore. Lanes are gone. After you come out of this, now you just run your race. How do you pass somebody? What's passing somebody? What's legal? What's not legal? What's the correct way to move up a position. So here's what happens. Lane, let's say there's a boat in this lane right here. He's got somebody on the inside right here. And they're both charging for this corner up here. The person who has the right of way is going to be the boat in the front. The boat in the front at this point, he has the right to take this line, which leaves a door open here for this guy to still stay to the inside of him. Or if he's a smart racer, in my opinion, you're going to kiss this pin right here like that and not give this guy the opportunity to go to the inside. That's protecting your line. You protect your line because you know somebody else was charging down the straightaway on the inside of it. It's not cutting him off unless if he's within 10 feet of the back of your boat, on that overtake, you better be real careful. And the problem is, so the class that we race in, because we're in canopies, and a canopy is a boat, we can't see very good to our blind spots to the outside, can't see behind you. So all we can really kind of see is directly to our direct left, to our direct right. So when we're in the lead boat, we don't always know where this secondary boat is. You better remember about where the last time he was. Every so often you kind of get a peek over your corner. You might be able to see him in your side view mirror. A lot of times your mirrors at this point in the race, could be later in the race, could be a rough water race, your mirrors are already folded down. You can't see. So, it's kind of a rule of thumb. If you see the beak of their boat, this guy now has the right of way. So, let's go into this corner. We're both going into this corner. And this is my boat. And we'll just call me the lead boat. So now we're both heading over here. I do not have the right of way to make this turn like that, because that would be considered cutting him off. I have to maintain on the outside, because in reality he is in a position where I can't cut him off. So it's really important that everyone knows this. A lot of guys, let's face it, they know you're coming. Is the 10-foot rule always imposed? It's supposed to be, but some people think it's a game of chicken. I can tell you, if you think that you come into a boat race and you're going to play a game of chicken with these guys racing in these boats, you've come to the wrong party. There ain't a chicken out there. Let me just tell you that right now. So don't think you're going to push anybody around. Don't think you're going to intimidate anybody. Don't think you're going to scare anybody. You're probably going to get yourself hurt or somebody else. You know what? When you have the corner, you know you've got the corner, and you take it with confidence. If you're not sure, or if you're the second guy coming in, you know what? If you think maybe this guy doesn't even know I'm here, there's a time to pass and there's a time not to pass. A smart racer is going to race a smart race, and it's not going to be won in one turn. If you were able to get up on him during the race to do that once, you're going to be able to do it again. Play smart, play safe. I'm not saying being a pussy. I'm saying do it right, and you gain the respect of the other racers along the way as well too. Respect, to not be respected on a race course by your fellow racers is a horrible place to be, because then they don't give a shit about you, and sooner or later you're going to be eating crow. Don't do it, would be my suggestion. The conclusion of the race. You put in all your laps. The start-finish boat, its start-finish line is going to have a checkered flag waving in the air. That means that your race is done. Now, to confuse matters, our class might be doing 10 laps. One of these other classes behind us might be doing 7 laps. So each team has to know how many laps they've done. So just because that checkered flag is flying, you better make sure that you've done all your laps, because that checkered flag could be flying for somebody else. So be very careful that you've counted your laps and you know when to stop. So as you come by the last lap, you're over here, you see the checkered flag flying, you did your 10 laps. What you want to do is you want to look in your rear view mirrors, you want to make sure nobody else is coming up behind you, and you work your way over to the center of the course and you pull in after the start-finish line. You never just pull in, because you never know if somebody else is coming along faster to the inside that has another lap to go. It's a very scary thing when you see somebody just all of a sudden turn over there and somebody practically get hit. Would not be the first time. You're going to come in, somebody on the start-finish boat, depending on the weather conditions, the water conditions, is going to pass you a checkered flag. You are the only one to approach that boat and get a checkered flag. Second place, third place, and all the way down through the thing, they just come off the course and they wait for the course to be cleared before they then return back to the channel. You cannot go back to the channel until the race is over. So you've got to make sure that the race is over. You cannot cross a hot race course. Some guys do it, they're not supposed to. Get in big trouble. Just don't do it, it's not safe. Everybody goes back to the thing. Have an award ceremony at night. Everyone has a good time. Everyone laughs. We all talk about what a great day it was. Thank the town for having us. We really need to thank all the volunteers. If a word for all the volunteers from the town to come out to help us do this. They're the ones who volunteer their boats. They volunteer their time. They volunteer to work the parking lots. They volunteer in the crane area. They're constantly asking you if they can help you. Volunteers are key. They're paramount to what we do. And thank you for any of you volunteers that are listening, watching. My hat goes off to you, and I'm sure every racer feels the exact same way as I do. Without you, this wouldn't happen. So thank you. Thank you for keeping us safe. One last shout out. There's a rescue system that's all in place on this as well too. Helicopter in the air, rescue boats that are out there, paramedics, a lot of volunteers on those boats as well too. It is a professional team that does watch over us, and want to thank them as well too. And guys, that's going to be a wrap for today. I hope I've helped give you a little bit of guidance of some 101 racing, how we do it. And so if you're ever interested in coming to racing, you're going to have a little bit of an idea of what we do and how we do it. And the next course, or the next time, I think I'm going to do one on safety. Hopefully we'll put something together where we'll talk about life jackets that you need to have, helmets, air in the boats, seat belts, things of that nature, so that you understand the basics of what you're going to need to come race. Thank you for watching RaceOffshore.tv. It's been a pleasure. Randy Schleuss signing off. Guys, this video is put together by RaceOffshore.tv. You can watch this on your TV. You can watch this on your computer. It's very simple. And this is a channel that has nothing but offshore race stuff on it. 1 million people have a Roku device in their house. This is a free channel that you can watch 24/7. And this is sponsored also by Vontronics TV, which is another streaming company, which is another $29.95 for streaming TV. If you want to cut your bills, just throwing a plug out there. Enjoy it, guys.